Well, we're going to revisit the 33rd UK licensing round. We've got between now and the 12th of January to get our stories together and apply for blocks. Lots of opportunities in there. Some people say, well, blimey, it's been picked over so much. Surely there's very little left. Well, there are some great opportunities. There's lots of discoveries that have never been brought forward to sanction. There's still a huge number of prospects in open acreage, and indeed there are some abandoned fields that could be looked at for redevelopment potential.
So we've already published a couple of videos in recent times where we've touched on the UK license round, but now that it's been announced, we've got a lot more information and a lot more detail, which we're going to try and cover throughout the course of this video. So here was the headlines back in late August, and Liz Truss was the Prime Minister back then, if anybody can remember her, and she was promising perhaps as many as 100, others said 130 new licenses. Whether this is still the ambition and the goal, but the round is going ahead and is going to be closing on the 12th of January. Here's a map showing in yellow are all the current licensed acreage, and in the sort of pink colour you can see this all the open acreage. So it extends from right up in the north there, west of Shetlands, northern North Sea, right down into the Moray Firth, the outer Moray Firth anyway, the central North Sea, the mid North Sea high, down into the southern North Sea, and also parts of the Irish Sea. So 932 blocks or part blocks in all. Lots of the information you can find on the North Sea Transition Authority's website, and there's they're the regulator. They're formerly known as the Oil and Gas Authority. They've kind of got some interesting thoughts and ideas. They look at various clusters that they're proposing are high grading. They think they're very good opportunities for companies to look at, and we're just going to have a look at one of those, which is cluster number 4 here. It's called the Cotton area, and we're going to have a look and see how we would actually do an assessment within the TROVE database to actually come to a decision on whether this is something that we would high grade for further study and potentially for bidding. So this is the slide that NSTA put out to summarise the cotton cluster, and there's a few other maps. This is a slide also in the pack, and it shows where cotton is. It's not actually labelled, but we've labelled it there. You can see to the south of cotton we have a licensed area. This is licensed for carbon capture. Also that there are a series of fields here, Garrow and Kilmar. Now they have unmanned wellhead protector platforms. Trent is the host platform for these fields that are tied back, but it was shut in back in 2020 due to a fuel leak. Now, so as we understand it, Cotton and Harmonia are discoveries close to existing infrastructure, but that is shut-in infrastructure. 100 BCF, well, not the sort of volumes that we assess within TROVE. Cotton, relatively well understood, further work required to mature Harmonia. Well, we understand there's 2 wells on the Harmonia structure. One was unsuccessful. There's 1 well on Cotton. You know, we must note that part of Cotton is actually within the CCS license. Now, I would imagine that all can be dealt with and can be separated out, but you know, it is something to be wary of. Cotton was previously named Kana, and we'll look at that in more detail. Here is the infrastructure, so Garrow on the left and Kilmar on the right. Collectively, these 2 fields were also known as TORs, and they produced via Brent. They've not produced since 2020, and that's coming from the PPRS system on NSTA website, and they probably need an alternative export route to bypass Trent. But anyway, that's, as we understand it, that's the infrastructure that exists there. So if we now turn to TROVE and have a look.
So we'll start by going straight to the dashboard, which is sort of one of the key analytical tools within TROVE. And we've built a slicer specially here for the clusters. I'll just turn off everything that doesn't have a cluster assigned to it. And you can see that we are left with 14 not producing assets. So in this database, those are discoveries. We have a separate prospects and leads database for the undrilled opportunities. These all get rolled up into area files where we can conduct analytics at higher level. Looking at these 14 discoveries, we can see that 10 of them, the primary target is in the Carboniferous, and for 4 of them, it's a Permian target. They're all targeting gas, unsurprisingly. 11 of them have reserves in the range of 0 to 100 BCF. 2 of them are larger, with reserves in the range of 100 to 200 BCF. And finally, 1 of them is in the 200 to 300 BCF range. We'll now navigate to the data table. And here we have a list of every Southern North Sea field and discovery. I'll filter again so that we're just looking at those identified by the NSTA and put in a cluster. And we'll take cotton as just an example discovery that we're looking at. Here's its 2 other names it's been called throughout its history. So here we are looking at the cotton asset tab montage. And here you can see all the public domain data that we've collated and used to tabulate the table for the entry for cotton. But as well as the data in the table, we clearly have cross-section lines here, well comps, correlation panels, maps, various press releases. This looks like from a relinquishment report. Here we have a final well report and information pulled from the NDR. And you can see it's just an excellent source of information for how to get up to speed on everything you would want for your initial view of cotton. Zooming in on one of the maps, so when it was previously called Kana, here it is, the discovery identified, and we can see that it's right next to Garrow and Kilmar. Another tool that is built into Trove is our compare tool. So here you can pick any 2 assets in the database and compare them directly against each other. And you can see that the reserves size are very, very comparable actually, although targeting different reservoirs interestingly. Finally, we can look at this in the context of the whole southern North Sea. So our newly defined red and yellow points represent cotton and Garrow that we just typed in to the compare tool, and we can see that permeability versus depth plot initially, they're both on the lower scale of permeability but well in the mix. Porosity versus permeability just showing for cotton, again it's well in the mix of the southern North Sea. Here they are shown for specific gravity versus depth. They seem to be at the higher end of pressures for the area, sort of the lower end for porosities, and on the recovery factor they appear to be at the lower end. I know Garrow in particular underperformed from what it was expected to produce, but cotton targeting a different reservoir horizon could well be a different story.
Thanks, Ben. And so now we'll look at the Innovate license details. Now, an Innovate license, that replaces the old licensing method, which used to be promote, traditional and frontier licenses. It's one single license, and it offers more flexibility in the initial and second licensing terms. It's basically split up into 3 sections, A, B, and C. A tends to be for the studies, desktop studies, any geophysical seismic data reprocessing, etc., just to kind of work up an idea and actually get that more mature. B licenses, or the B work program subdivisions, this is where companies would bid to shoot seismic surveys or acquire other geophysical data. And in term C, that would be the drilling phase. Now, beyond the initial term, then there are follow-up terms where you would actually go forward with a redevelopment or a development plan. So it's for appraisal drillings and obtaining development and production consent. Now, typically at the end of the initial term, there's an expectation that some of the acreage will be surrendered, and usually that's thought to be 50%. We want to kind of have a look at that and just we really should seek some clarification from NSTA on that. The third term of the license, of the Innovate license, is the field development and the production phase. So, negotiations, these are essentially, it's a gated process here. So in the Innovate license, the details, it says the license will expire at the end of the initial term unless the licensee has completed an agreed initial term work program and surrendered a fixed amount of acreage, usually 50%. In this scenario, you couldn't actually relinquish 50% of the acreage without essentially giving away the asset that you're interested in. But I'm sure there's flexibility for such things. As you can see, there's a huge number of opportunities for both redeveloping fields, for developing discoveries, and also for drilling, high grading and drilling over 1,000 prospects, all lying in open acreage. So there are lots of opportunities here. Again, we put this out in an earlier video. We actually asked, what were these opportunities? And well, the answer is that they are Benbecula, Firth of Forth, and Dragon. I wonder how many people got those. Actually, nobody actually put the right answer down underneath the video, and would have got a prize, which would have been a bottle of single malt, but probably we'll just have to share that amongst the team here. Anyway, that's the number of discoveries and prospects that we've identified in the open acreage. Here they are on a map and also on GIS, and of course these can all be put straight into a company's GIS system to actually show where they are relative to existing infrastructure. Just one of the features of TROVE. In summary, 932 blocks or part blocks are available. Bids will close on the 12th of January 2023. The Southern North Sea cluster areas, they are available for fast-track developments, and if you want to quickly assess those, TROVE is a great tool to use. It's certainly, subscribers have a huge advantage of being able to screen opportunities and compare them with everything else in the same basin or indeed right across the North Sea. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. You'll get informed when our next video comes out. There's our contact details. Look forward to seeing you back on our channel. Bye for now.